A sharply dressed man enters Judge Caprio's courtroom, carrying himself with the air of someone convinced he's the smartest person in the room. His tailored suit, designer watch, and luxury car parked outside reflect a life built on appearances and arrogance. His name is Alex Petro, a 35-year-old Eastern European immigrant living in Los Angeles. He's charged with multiple traffic offenses, driving without a valid license, using fake insurance, with the kind of violations that normally end with fines. But as Judge Frank Caprio reviews the case, it becomes clear that this is more than routine misconduct. This isn't just about traffic violations, it's about an elderly woman who placed her trust in the wrong person. It's about a manipulator who saw kindness as weakness and turned exploitation into profit. It's about charm used as a weapon. When that elderly woman takes the stand, her voice trembling as she explains how Alex Petro shattered her peace, the courtroom realizes what's really unfolding: a con artist exposing himself through arrogance. Subscribe now. Nearly 97% of viewers haven't yet, because this case shows exactly why those who prey on the vulnerable deserve zero leniency, and why Judge Caprio's justice is both sharp and uncompromising. By the end of this video, you'll see confidence turn into fear, luxury stripped away, and an elderly victim finally reclaim dignity and justice from the man who betrayed her trust. Here's the question: what happens when a con artist faces a judge who can see straight through deception? Alex Petro is about to discover the answer. It's Tuesday morning, 10:15 a.m. At the Providence Municipal Court, the bailiff calls the next case. Alex Petro, charged with driving without a valid license and submitting fraudulent insurance documents. A man in his mid-30s walks into the courtroom as if he owns the place. He's dressed in a tailored navy suit, a crisp white shirt, and polished leather shoes. His dark hair is neatly styled, and a Rolex gleams on his wrist. Everything about his appearance suggests wealth and self-assurance. Yet, beneath that confidence lies something different: a smile that never quite reaches his eyes, a demeanor that feels too relaxed for a courtroom, as if he believes none of this is truly important. Judge Caprio glances up, maintaining a calm expression. "Good morning, Mr. Petro." "Good morning, Your Honor," Petro replies. His accent is distinct but softened, Eastern European. Refined by years of living in the USA, as Judge Caprio flips through the case file, his face hardens slightly. "Mr. Petro, you are charged with operating a motor vehicle without a valid driver's license and submitting fraudulent insurance papers to the police is a serious matter. Can you explain what happened?" Alex offers a confident, well-rehearsed smile. "Your Honor, this is all a misunderstanding. My license renewal was delayed because of some issues with immigration paperwork and insurance. There must have been a mix-up with my provider." "A communication error?" Judge Caprio asks. "Yes, Your Honor. You know how it goes. Sometimes documents get misplaced or systems fail to update. Nothing intentional." Judge Caprio studies him carefully. Something about Alex's smooth explanation doesn't sit right. "Mr. Petro," he begins, "this report shows you've been driving without a valid license for 8 months. That's not a delay in paperwork, and that's a repeated decision. Your Honor, I've been trying to fix it. The DMV makes things difficult, especially for immigrants." "Mr. Petro," the judge responds evenly, "I'm an Italian immigrant myself. I understand those challenges. But driving without a license for 8 months isn't a struggle. It's a choice." Alex's smile falters slightly. "Of course, Your Honor. I take full responsibility." Judge Caprio flips through more documents. "Mr. Petro, there's another matter I need to clarify. The vehicle you were driving, a 2023 BMW 7 Series, is registered to someone else, a Mrs. Dorothy Walsh, age 78. Can you explain that?" "She's my landlord, Your Honor. She lets me use her car. She lets you drive her $70,000 vehicle? She's very kind, Your Honor. We have a strong relationship." Judge Caprio's instincts immediately sense something off. "Mr. Petrov, I see additional documents here. Employment papers, wage disputes. What's your job?" "I'm a caregiver, Your Honor. I assist elderly individuals with daily needs, errands, and appointments. And Mrs. Walsh is one of your clients." "She was, Your Honor. Now she's more like family." The word family makes Judge Caprio's jaw tighten. There's something unsettling in the casual tone. "Mr. Petrov, I'm calling Mrs. Walsh to the stand. She's listed as a witness in this case." Alex's confidence wavers slightly. "Your Honor, that won't be necessary." Mrs. Walsh is elderly and often gets confused. She's present, and she's fully able to testify. Mrs. Walsh, please step forward. Subscribe to Judge Stories if you believe elder abuse is among the most serious crimes imaginable. An elderly woman slowly approaches the witness stand. She's about 5 feet tall, thin and dressed in modest clothing that's clearly worn. Her hands tremble as she grips her walker, but her eyes, though anxious, remain sharp. Judge Caprio's tone softens. Mrs. Walsh, thank you for being here today. I know this isn't easy. Could you tell me about your relationship with Mr. Petrov? Dorothy Walsh speaks softly, her voice unsteady. He came to me 2 years ago through an agency. He was hired to help with groceries and drive me to appointments. My husband had just passed and I needed support. And did he provide that help? At first, yes. He was very polite and attentive. He said I reminded him of his grandmother in Ukraine, and that he wanted to look after me. That sounds kind. Dorothy's voice falters. That's what I believed. Your Honor, I trusted him. I treated him like the grandson I never had. What changed? After about 6 months, he said he needed my help. He claimed his apartment building was being sold and he needed a new place to stay. I had a spare bedroom, so I offered it to him. He said he would pay rent, did he? The first month, yes. After that, there were always excuses. Bank issues, client delays, always something. I didn't press him because he was helping me so much. Judge Caprio asks carefully, Mrs. Walsh, how did Mr. Petrov end up driving your car? Dorothy wipes her eyes. He said his car had broken down. He told me he needed mine to reach his other clients so he could earn money to pay the rent. I felt guilty because he was staying with me, and I kept asking him to pay rent, so I told him he could borrow my car for a while. Judge Caprio, when was that? Dorothy, about a year ago, Your Honor. Judge Caprio, a year ago. And he's still using it? Dorothy, yes, Your Honor. He says his own car is still being repaired, but I've never seen him work on it. He won't let me use mine either. Not even when I need to get to my doctor's appointments. He drives me only when he feels like it. Judge Caprio's face tightens. Judge Caprio, Mrs. Walsh, these documents show that you signed over the title of your car to Mr. Petrov. Do you remember doing that? Dorothy looks nervous and unsure. Dorothy, he had me sign several papers. He said they were for insurance or in case of an emergency. He told me it would help him take care of things if something ever happened to me. Judge Caprio, did you understand that you were transferring ownership of your car? Dorothy, no, Your Honor. I didn't realize that. My eyesight isn't good and he would just tell me where to sign. I trusted him. Alex speaks smoothly from the podium. Alex, Your Honor, Mrs. Walsh wanted me to have the car. She was concerned about her estate planning. Judge Caprio's tone sharpens. Judge Caprio, Mr. Petrov, you'll have your opportunity to speak. Right now, Mrs. Walsh is testifying. He turns back to her. Judge Caprio, Mrs. Walsh, were there other documents he asked you to sign? Dorothy, yes, Your Honor. Papers about my house and my bank accounts. He said it was all to protect me, to make sure I was taken care of. Judge Caprio reviews a few more documents carefully. Mrs. Walsh, according to these records, you granted Mr. Petrov power of attorney over your financial matters. Do you recall signing this? She nods hesitantly. Yes, Your Honor. He told me it was just in case I got sick or couldn't handle my affairs anymore. He said it was only to keep me safe. Judge Caprio leans forward slightly. And has he used that authority? Dorothy's voice grows faint. I think so, Your Honor. My bank accounts are nearly empty now. I had savings from after my husband passed away, but most of it's gone. There's barely anything left. Have you confronted Mr. Petrov about this? The judge asks. Yes, Your Honor. He says I've been spending more than I realize and that the money went to bills, his rent, and some car repairs. But I don't remember spending that much. I'm afraid, Your Honor. I'm scared he might take my house next. Judge Caprio's anger flickers beneath his calm expression, but his tone stays gentle as he addresses Dorothy. Mrs. Walsh, why didn't you come forward sooner? Tears glisten in her eyes. Because I was ashamed, Your Honor. Ashamed that I let someone take advantage of me. Ashamed that I trusted the wrong person. And I was frightened. Mr. Petrov can be kind, but when I question him, he gets upset. Not violent, but intimidating. I'm 78 years old and alone. I didn't know what to do. Judge Caprio slowly turns toward Alex Petrov. His voice now carries none of the softness it had before. Mr. Petrov, you've heard Mrs. Walsh's statement. Now I want your explanation, and I expect the truth. Alex stays calm, though there's a hint of calculation behind his steady gaze. Your Honor, Mrs. Walsh is a kind woman, but she's elderly, and sometimes gets things mixed up. Everything I did was meant to help her. Stop, just stop right there. Judge Caprio's tone turns firm. Mrs. Walsh isn't confused. She's scared. There's a difference. Your Honor, I've been taking care of her for 2 years. You've exploited her for 2 years. Let's be precise. That's not fair, Your Honor. What's not fair, Mr. Petrov, is taking advantage of a vulnerable senior who trusted you. What's not fair is convincing her to sign away her property while pretending it was for her benefit. Judge Caprio picks up the paperwork. Let's review this step by step. You had Mrs. Walsh transfer the title of her car. What was your intention? Alex responds smoothly. She wanted to be sure I could manage things if anything happened to her. She didn't want to be a burden. That's interesting, the judge replies, because Mrs. Walsh just testified she believed she was signing insurance forms. Not her car title. She might not recall correctly, Your Honor. She's 78. Her memory appears fine to me. Yours, however, seems conveniently selective. Judge Caprio continues. You also had her sign a power of attorney granting you financial control. According to bank records, her savings dropped from $93,000 to under $4,000 in a year. Where did that money go, Mr. Petrov? Petrov, you handled her finances, correct? Her bills, expenses, home maintenance? Yet there are no records of any major repairs, medical costs, or significant bills. What we do see are consistent withdrawals that align with luxury spending, new clothes, upscale dining, and the insurance payments on that BMW you're driving. Shall I keep going? Alex's confidence begins to falter. Your Honor, I believe I deserve to be compensated for my time. Compensated? You lived in her home rent-free. You were supposed to pay her, not take from her. She forgave my rent, Alex insists. She forgave it because you manipulated her emotions, making her feel guilty for expecting fair payment when you claim to be helping out of generosity. Judge Caprio's tone sharpens. Mr. Petrov, you are a predator. You targeted an elderly woman, gained her trust under false pretenses, made yourself essential to her life, and then exploited that trust. You took her car, her savings, and nearly her home. Your Honor, I object to that description. Your objection is noted and overruled. Now, let's get to the truth. Did Mrs. Walsh knowingly and willingly transfer her assets to you? Alex hesitates, calculating his response. She signed the papers, Your Honor. That's not what I asked. Did she understand what she was signing? I explained everything to her in detail. In words an elderly woman with poor eyesight could fully comprehend. Another pause. I gave her the general idea. So you admit that you failed to clearly explain she was signing over her vehicle, financial control, and assets? Alex's confident tone fades, replaced by defensiveness. Your Honor, she trusted me to make responsible choices. She trusted you, and you violated that trust entirely. Don't forget to subscribe to Judge Stories for moments when deceit is exposed and justice is served. Judge Caprio takes a steadying breath, his expression controlled but firm. Mr. Petrov, let me make something clear. This court typically handles traffic matters. That's what brought you here today. But what's come to light goes far beyond a simple violation. Your Honor, No, I'm not finished, Caprio interrupts. You walked into this courtroom confident, smiling, convinced these charges were trivial. You expected to pay a fine and return to manipulating Mrs. Walsh. That's not going to happen. Judge Caprio delivers his rulings one after another with precision. First, the BMW 7 Series registered in Mrs. Walsh's name, which you've been driving, is to be seized immediately. The title transfer you coerced from her is nullified, as it was obtained through fraud and undue influence. Alex's face drains of color. Your Honor, that's my car. That's Mrs. Walsh's car, Caprio corrects him, and she's getting it back. But I need that vehicle for work. You should have considered that before taking what wasn't yours. Caprio continues firmly. Second, the power of attorney you secured from Mrs. Walsh is revoked. You no longer have any authority over her finances or personal decisions. Your Honor, she wanted me to help her, Alex insists. She wanted someone she could trust, and you exploited that trust. Your authority is terminated. Third, Caprio concludes, this matter is being referred to the district attorney's office for criminal prosecution. The court is now addressing the matter of elder abuse, financial exploitation, and fraud. What you did to Mrs. Walsh isn't just unethical, it's criminal. Alex tries to regain his composure. Your Honor, this is being blown out of proportion. Mrs. Walsh and I simply had a misunderstanding that can be resolved privately. Judge Caprio's response is firm. There is no misunderstanding. Mr. Petrov, there is theft. There is manipulation. There is elder abuse. Those are crimes, not disagreements. His tone sharpens further. Fourth, you are ordered to vacate Mrs. Walsh's residence immediately. You have 48 hours to remove your personal items. If you remain beyond that period, you'll be forcibly removed by law enforcement and charged with trespassing. Alex protests, Your Honor, where am I supposed to go? That's not the court's concern, Judge Caprio replies. You're a clever man. You'll manage just as you managed to deceive a 78-year-old woman. Fifth, regarding Mrs. Walsh's drained bank accounts, you are to submit a detailed report of every transaction and expense made using her funds. The district attorney will examine these records as part of the ongoing criminal investigation. Alex's composure breaks. Your Honor, I no longer have that money. Then you have a far greater problem, Judge Caprio says sternly. He concludes decisively. Sixth, any alleged debts, expenses, or rent arrangements you claim Mrs. Walsh approved are now void. Mrs. Walsh owes you nothing. Walsh owes you nothing. In fact, you owe her roughly $89,000 plus interest, Your Honor. I can't pay that. Then you'll deal with the civil courts, and possibly prison. But you're not taking another cent from Mrs. Walsh. Judge Caprio turns toward Dorothy Walsh, his tone softening. Mrs. Walsh, I'm deeply sorry this happened to you. You did absolutely nothing wrong. You showed kindness to someone who needed help, and he took advantage of that generosity. The blame lies with him, not with you. Dorothy wipes away tears. Thank you, Your Honor. I just want my car back and for him to leave my home. You'll have both. And Mrs. Walsh, this court is referring you to Elder Advocacy Services. They'll assist you in securing your property, recovering your finances, and ensuring something like this never happens again. Thank you, Your Honor. Judge Caprio turns to the courtroom, his voice steady but filled with restrained anger. Ladies and gentlemen, what you've seen today is elder abuse, one of the most despicable crimes because it preys on those least able to defend themselves. The elderly who are isolated, trusting, and simply want to believe in the goodness of others. Mr. Petrov represents a kind of predator that targets the elderly. They appear kind and dependable, make themselves essential, and then gradually take everything their victims have, while pretending to care. He fixes his eyes on Alex. Mr. Petrov, you walked into this courtroom confident, thinking you were clever. You assumed you'd escape justice. You believed an elderly woman wouldn't be believed, wouldn't fight back, or would be too embarrassed to speak out. He pauses. You were wrong on every count. Alex remains silent, defeated. You asked Mrs. Walsh to trust you, and then she did. Trust is a privilege, Mr. Petrov. Petrov, trust isn't a tool, a weapon, or something to exploit for personal advantage. It's sacred, especially when it's given by someone who is vulnerable. Judge Caprio's closing words cut deep. You've shattered that trust. You stole from someone who saw you as family, and today you'll understand the price of that betrayal. He raises his gavel. All rulings take effect immediately. Mr. Petrov, surrender the BMW keys to the bailiff right now. Mrs. Walsh's vehicle will be returned to her today. Reluctantly, Alex takes the keys from his pocket and hands them over. You have 48 hours to vacate Mrs. Walsh's property. The district attorney will contact you regarding criminal charges. This court is adjourned. The gavel falls with unmistakable finality. Alex walks out, confidence gone, smile erased. Meanwhile, Dorothy Walsh is surrounded by court advocates helping her secure her home and finances. An older man steps forward and addresses Judge Caprio. Your Honor, my mother went through something similar. She lost everything to a man like him. Thank you for protecting Mrs. Walsh. Judge Caprio nods solemnly. I wish I could protect them all. But at least today, one predator has been stopped. Subscribe to Judge Stories for more. Moments when justice safeguards the vulnerable and those who exploit them face the consequences. Alex Petrov entered the courtroom with arrogance and a grin. He left with his car seized, criminal charges pending, and nowhere to go. Dorothy Walsh entered afraid and ashamed, but left with her dignity, her car, her home, and justice on her side. Judge Frank Caprio once again demonstrated that some crimes deserve no leniency, that exploiting the elderly is inexcusable, and that broken trust demands accountability. This is what happens when deception meets real justice, when charm fails against truth, and when one brave woman's courage unmasks a con artist for who he truly is.